Welcome to Mostly Paleo, Always Delicious. For today's recipe, we're going to make a paleo version of a Filipino dish called Arroz Caldo, basically a chicken and rice soup. My mother used to make this for us anytime we were feeling under the weather, and it's truly one of my favorite comfort dishes. So follow along and watch me today as I make this delicious and paleo recipe. Today's recipe calls for 5 cups of riced cauliflower, a 3-inch knob of ginger, 4 to 5 bay leaves, 1 shallot. We'll use about 6 cloves of garlic, pink Himalayan salt, garlic powder, black pepper, lemongrass powder, and ginger powder. We will end up using about 6 cups of water. I have 1 whole chicken plus 5 wings that I've cut up. And then I have a 2 to 1 part mix of fish sauce and coconut aminos. The first thing we're going to do is you're going to take your chicken, make sure it's washed and clean. Put that in our bowl, and then we're just going to dump in all of our dry seasonings and just kind of get in there, and you want to mix that good. You can use any kind of chicken that you like. I actually prefer to use all chicken wings, but because I'm not feeling that good today, I wanted some chicken breast in there so I could shred it when it's done and mix it in my soup. You could use boneless, skinless chicken if you wanted to use boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You could do that as well. If you do that, you will definitely want to use a broth or a bone broth versus water. So we've got that mixed well, so we'll just let this sit and marinate for a bit while we get our veggies together. For the aromatics, we will start with the ginger. You just want to peel it. And I just do it with a knife. You can use the back of a spoon. But I prefer a knife because then it's easier to get it into a rectangle shape, which makes it easier to cut it into matchsticks. So I've cut it into matchsticks, and now I'm going to cut it into small dices. With with ginger, it's very important that you cut it into small pieces, because if you have family members like mine, they definitely do not enjoy biting into a huge chunk of ginger. It's just not that appealing. But you want to make sure to use a lot of ginger because that is one of the main flavor profiles of this dish. So our ginger is cut up. And now we'll go with the garlic. So we'll set that to the side. Now we have our shallots. And the same with the shallot. I'm just going to roughly chop it. It doesn't have to be uniform or pretty because it's going to cook down in your soup. So that's it for our aromatics, and now we'll get to cooking them in the pan. So we've got our pan warmed up with about 2 tablespoons of oil. I like to use avocado oil or Thrive algae oil. Use whatever your preference is. So the first thing we're going to do is get our garlic and our shallots in here. We'll cook these until they're nice and fragrant, until the shallots are translucent. We do not want to burn the garlic. slowly start adding the chicken, putting it skin side down so it can caramelize and create a nice flavorful broth. So now that we've got that layer of chicken in there, we'll go ahead and add the ginger. And just let that sit for a few moments. We'll let that get nice and caramelized on that side, and then we'll come back and flip that over. The chicken is browning, so I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the chicken wings. I'm also going to add the bay leaves at this time. And then I'm just going to get in here and stir it all up. I will let that brown just a little bit more, and then we're going to go ahead and add all the water to it. So the chicken is lightly browned. I've added 4 cups of water. I'm going to add a remaining 2 for a total of 6. Lastly, I'm going to add my fish sauce and coconut aminos blend. Give that one last good stir. Once you bring your chicken to a boil, you want to make sure that you skim all the scum off. It will help ensure that you have a nice, clean, but yet flavorful broth. Once you get all the scum off, go ahead and put the lid back on and continue to cook. The chicken's been cooking for an hour, so what I'm going to do now is remove all the pieces except for the wings. And I'm removing these pieces so that I can take the meat off of the bones and then add it back to the pan. So basically I'm just removing the legs, the thighs, and the breast. I'm also going to look for all the bay leaves now and try to take those out as well. So I'll let that continue cooking down with the lid off. I'm going to let the chicken cool. I will shred it. Once it's cooled and I can shred it, then I'm going to add it back to the pan with the broth and the chicken wings, and then we'll add the cauliflower rice as well and let it finish cooking. And it'll almost be ready to serve. So we've got all the chicken shredded, all the skin off, all the bones out. Any extra fat that was still on the chicken, I've removed that as well. So now we'll just add that back to the broth. We've got all the chicken added, so I turned up the temperature just a little bit, put it on medium-high. And then now I'm going to add the cauliflower. So what the cauliflower is going to do, it's going to soak up all this broth. It's going to really be a vehicle for the flavors in all of that broth. So we'll just let this cook for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll be ready to serve. The dish is cooked at about an additional 12 to 15 minutes, and you can see it's come to a nice boil. The cauliflower is cooked through. So it's done. We can take it off the heat and serve it. Our Paleo Arroz Caldo is done. It's best garnished with some soft boiled eggs, green onion, and a little cilantro. And that's it. Thank you for joining me on Mostly Paleo, Always Delicious, and I hope you enjoy my paleo version of this Filipino dish, Arroz Caldo, chicken and rice soup. Thank you. Don't forget to hit subscribe and that like button.